Buckle up, bitches! Big Sills! Holy cow, do we have one for you today? Yes, indeed. We have one for you today. Hey, by the way, hey, Eagle fans, snap out of it. It's Cowboy week. Are you really going to go soft like the Cowboys? I can't believe it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and you're still moaning about the Niners ass beating? I just can't believe that they did that to us. I'm pretty shocked. I can't believe it. It's incredible. Get over yourselves. Everybody gets killed. 49ers went on a 3-game losing streak. What, do you think you're better than anybody? You're not. You haven't won shit. Remember that. Ton of games. My friends, this is about winning the Super Bowl. Not about looking good on Sundays. There's only one end result here. You know what that is? Super Bowl. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing. Well, we're 10-2. So what? You got murdered. It's Dallas week. Let me throw this at you right off the top. You think this is a must-win week for the Eagles? Okay? You think this is a must-win? Because if it's a must-win week, you better put that Niner game in the rear view. Is this a must-win game? I think it is. Because if you don't get home field, you are not going to the NFC Championship game. You're playing like you're out of gas. And I'm going to tell you why that Cowboy game is going to be closer than you think. You know why? Your fatigue factor is going to drop you down a peg like it did in that Niner game. Now, look, Dallas is nowhere in San Francisco's league. And you're going to be fighting the league on Sunday. You are going to be fighting the league, the refs. Do you think the NFL and Park Avenue wants the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl? Or do they want the Cowboys? They want the Cowboys. All I'm telling you right now, this is a must-win. Before I continue, I got some really great news. Saturday, King of Prussia, Big Sills is going to be in town. Yes. I'm leaving the friendly confines of the Big Sills Dan Cave in the studios, which I rarely. Xander still got a ticket for 2 years ago on his bulletin board. It's got 2 years ago, he's got a ticket on his bulletin board. 3:30 to 5:30. I'm inviting Angelo, Missinelli, Mike, G. Cobb. I'm inviting Barrett. By the way, Barrett Brooks will be on with us also today at 4:30, and Seth Joyner is going to join us at 5:30. So we got some Bird guys on today. But Saturday, Big Sills will be in King of Prussia from 3:30 to 5:30. And we're going to be doing an hour show there, live at the Hooters. Come on by. Oh, here's something else. Listen with the Krauses, man. These guys are just like iHeart. These guys are like iHeart and Odyssey. Yeah, Sills, yeah, moving things here. We got Birds tickets to give away. Merchandise. Hey, when you own a company, you're always moaning about something. Hey, I get it. Okay? See, I'm just like you guys. I'm an employee here, man. Those are the guys that drive around in Escalades and Ferraris. Big Sills is just a common guy, man. I'm a man of the people. That's all I am. I'm a man of the people. So come on out and have a great time with us. This will be Saturday. Hey, by the way, last time I did an appearance, let me think. I think I did an appearance 3 years ago in Boston. We had over 500 people there. I was like, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we usually have a really great turnout. Sil's my favorite beer. Well, it can't be a fascist beer, okay? And it has to be an American beer. I love Corona, okay? I do. I love Corona. I won't lie. No, it's a Mexican beer. But if you're going to do anything, it's got to be like Sam Adams and something American. Even Budweiser's not American anymore. Must win for sure. Tell you what, Sills, you want to make that Dallas organization crumble? Win on Sunday. Absolutely. You put a dagger in them. You'll put a dagger. However, if the Dallas, do we not agree? IPAs are cool. Hey, do we not agree? Right? Hey, Xander, right? Everyone. If the Cowboys win on Sunday against the Birds, they'll flex every Cowboy game the rest of the way out. They will flex every Cowboy game. Every Cowboy game will be like the prime game of the weekend. Holy cow, is this big for the league? They can't have you win. I think the thing's rigged against you actually on Sunday. You got a lot going against you, man. You really do. Especially that horrific defense. I saw Frank's column today in the Inquirer, and I saw that and how bad the defense has been. It's historic. You went from one of the most promising defenses at the beginning of the year to a defense that's terrible. Over the last 5 weeks, you're the worst defense in pro football. That's a troubling sign. I mean, you can't stop the run, and you can't stop the pass. Okay? And you're going in against a team that's pretty hot. And for the record, Dallas is not as good as San Francisco, but you know what they are? They're good against you. And you're underdogs again. I've never seen a 10-2 team 2 weeks in a row underdogs. First, you were a 3-point underdog in your own crib. Now you got to go to Dallas's building, and you're a 3-point underdog there too. People aren't buying you. They don't believe you. Should I bury the lead before Friday? Do I think the Birds beat the Cowboys on Sunday? Man, my brain says no. Okay, but my brain also says this. What Dallas has got to prove they can win a big game. They haven't won one in 30 years. They haven't won one. That's what it's more about Dallas than you. Do I believe the Cowboys can man up and play against you and beat you in their own building? Shit, man. I haven't seen them win a big game in 30 years. Okay, I just haven't. Like I said, Barrett Brooks, 4:30, Seth Joyner, 5:30. Looking forward to that. I'm going to do something here now. Are you ready? Dual threat. Dual threat. I saw David Carr's comments about Jalen Hurts. They should sit him until he's healthy. And he got hammered for it. Well, I told you this before, and I'm starting to see it. Jalen Hurts is getting worn out and worn down. You see it. You see, I'm not saying sit his ass. You're paying that guy $50 million. You ain't sitting anywhere because you're tired. This is the NFL. This ain't Major League Baseball or that flop league called the Premier League or the NBA. Only those guys do that load management. Those are the only companies where you can make $750,000 a night and go, hey, I'm tired. I don't want to play. And they're cool with it. That's why America hates the NBA. They hate the NBA because those guys don't work for their money. Load management. I don't even want to get on the airplane and fly. That mentality does not exist in the NFL. If you're standing, you're playing. That's what Dallas Goedert said today. Hey, I got enough. I'm 80 to 90%. I got enough. I'm playing in Dallas. That's the difference between a football guy and a wormy NBA guy. Wormy NBA guy goes, hey, I'm exhausted. I played 3 basketball games in a row. How'd you like to play the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Niners 3 games in a row versus playing the Orlando Magic, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Sacramento Kings? I'm taking the big boys on here. A break. So I don't subscribe to that David Carr soft-ass mentality. But then again, this is coming from a guy who got his ass beat in the NFL when he was with the Houston Texans. So him getting his ass kicked, he should know about being hurt. Okay? Now I know this too. Those 60 sacks, he still sees ghost. I mean, David Carr has a soft mentality. And that's a soft quarterback's mentality. No wonder he didn't make it. He didn't make it because he got his ass kicked. In Houston, he didn't make it because he's soft. Sitting out. You make $50 million. I'd revoke your man card in Philly. I would revoke your man card if you missed that Cowboy game. Yeah, I'm not feeling it, man. I'm a little tired this week, so I think, I'll take a knee. I'll put Nate Sudfeld in. Or Marcus Mariota. Doesn't matter. Marcus Mariota, Nate Sudfeld, Ian Book. They're all bums. Who cares? I'm not sitting. David Carr. Maybe they should sit him. He does look tired. He totally looks tired. I'm going to make some other point to you here also before we get into the main topic. Do you know the Philadelphia Eagles? I saw those guys sitting out front of the NovaCare Center run the ball. You know they're 5th in attempts? They're 5th in rushing attempts. Run the ball. They are. But what's the difference? I can't wait to get Barrett and Seth on the ball and the other guy who helped defend the run. What's the difference? You're 5th in rushing attempts. What's the difference? The lack of RPO game. The thing that they've taken away from the offense from a year ago is you don't run the RPOs anymore. That's right, Q. They have taken the most important part of Jalen Hurts' game away from him. And that's why the run game doesn't look, and that's why you're not a very good run game in the red zone. Your power back's your quarterback. Hey, don't be insulted by that. The power back in Baltimore is the quarterback. The power back in Buffalo is the quarterback. I wouldn't be insulted by that. Those are some pretty good quarterbacks' names I just mentioned. Eagles will run the table. Never happen. Oh, if you get beat by Dallas, over. You're a wild card team. You go to the 5th hole. You'll be in the 5th hole by the end of the year. Woo! Dude, you've got to get that RPO game going again. But you see, the number one priority for the Philadelphia Eagle management and the analytic guys, like we found out yesterday, they don't want to run Jalen Hurts anymore. The Philadelphia Eagles analytic guys and the front office management guys have dictated philosophy on defense and offense. It's plain and simple to see. This is plain and simple to get this. You didn't win the Super Bowl because of your analytics department. You got killed against San Fran. What were you doing going away from pressure and all the things you were doing by running the ball in the first 8-19 of that game on Sunday. Think about this for a second. They put up 420 yards on you in 3 quarters. They had like -3 yards in the first quarter, did the Niners. In 3 quarters, they put up 420 some or 450 or something like that in total offense. 3 quarters. They ran the ball so much down your throat. Honestly, I mean, it was like a turnstile. Come to the conclusion the Eagles have a yes man problem. And that's what the front office. You know what? I don't think it's a yes man problem. I think it's too many voices in the room. There's no clarity. You have philosophical differences. Think about the people that run the analytics. Who are they? They're CPAs. They're guys that crunch numbers. Football guys, they put plays and game plans together with heart, trends, who's healthy, matchups. It's the feel of the game is in the coach. The analytic guys. Can you imagine? We found this out yesterday. This is how you run your team. And do you know what? And the difference was you had a coach in Doug Peterson that pushed back on the analytic guys. Hey, let me ask you this. Do you guys actually believe in your heart of hearts that the Philly play was an analytics play? That is the number one play. How about this? The tush push play? You think that's analytics? I don't. That's desire. The 2 plays that you were most successful in the last 8 years, Philly from the gut and the tush play. That's right, M. Reyes. Philly was all balls. I guarantee you Doug probably had to answer for that call. Dude, I tell you guys this all the time. Him looking at all those papers and the headphones on, you're in the moment where you're playing in the Super Bowl, and just casually, there comes casual Nick Foles walking over. Let's run the Philly. Let's run the Philly special. Okay. Shit, you putting papers down. Let's run it. That coach felt it. Yeah, let's run it. Nick ain't doing that. There lies the difference. I listened to the press conference today. They need to run the ball? No, you need to RPO more. You need to reinstall what you did a year ago. Hey, anybody watch Anthony Richardson at the beginning of the year for the Colts and how he was moving the chains for the Colts? It was all RPO shit. Go back and watch Anthony Richardson and how he played before he got injured. And I'm telling you, Anthony Richardson getting injured, in my opinion, I think that played a factor in Philly. Same offense, same way they ran Jalen Hurts a year ago. Shoulder injury, right? Not in Philly. That's why you have more turnovers. The attempts have actually come down. The percentage has come down. And you know what else has come down too? Jalen Hurts looking downfield more. Why is that? Because he's beat up. Here's what you got against Dallas. If you get your people on the right page, you know what, too? I'm going to say this about Hurts. Hurts has got to be more of a leader. He's got to be more of a leader here instead of a yes man himself. If there's a bad play being called, audible out of it. They love you. Dude, audible out of it. But then guess what you start doing? You start going against Howie. Draft a quarterback in the second round. That guy does not like any confrontation or anybody. See, he don't mind playing in your sandbox, but he don't want you in his sandbox. He creates all these divisions. And for the record, man, they work to a degree. Would you guys agree this in 30 years that Jeffrey Lurie has probably left 2 Super Bowls on the table? You guys probably should have 3. Is that fair? Okay. Is that fair? Do you guys think you should have at least 3 Super Bowls? Okay. And Nick Sirianni is a voice box culture. He fell into it. Kyle says 4. Okay. Too many voices. Every coach is expendable. Totally. Okay? Huh? Totally. Let's do this. Let's move on to the main topic. If Doug Peterson was here, would have had a Super Bowl last year. Correct. And you know what's funny? Some of you in here, man, you get really bent out of shape every time the name Doug Peterson gets brought up because you know Doug in the end was right. You know he was right. Okay? All right. Let's go here. How many people think that Jalen Hurts in 2023 has been playing like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? I don't. I think he's had top moments. You look at his numbers, they're not exceptional. Then again, they weren't exceptional last year. You think Jalen Hurts has been playing like the top? You think he's outplaying CJ Stroud? You think that like he's outplaying Purdy? Well, that was on a clear display. That's not the case. Think he's outplaying Lamar? When you watched that game against Buffalo, did you think he was the best quarterback on the field? I didn't. When you watch Jalen Hurts this year, do you think he's better than he was a year ago? Hurts wins. So does Garoppolo. Let me see what Jimmy Garoppolo. Even in shitty Raiderville. Even shitty Raiderville. Let me see what his record is. Jimmy Garoppolo's stats. Let's see what Jimmy Garoppolo's record is as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo's record. He's 43-20. I don't know. Been to a Super Bowl? Won an NFC championship? He's a winner too. What does Jalen Hurts have over him? What does he accomplish more than Garoppolo? A dozen times a game he misses wide open receivers. Yeah, because get this, you're asking him to be Josh Allen and he's nowhere near it as a passer because you've taken the RPO out of his game. Hurts was better last year. Why? Because the RPO was in the game. Honest to God. No. Here's my point. They're stunting his growth with shitty coaches and analytics. How many times have you watched him go over to the sidelines and roll his eyes at Brian Johnson and the play calls for that series? Or how many times are you going to watch A.J. Brown come over and bitch about him not seeing him open? Or other guys open? How many times are you going to listen to Dallas Goedert like you did at the beginning of the year going, I wish I was more involved in the passing game? Get this. I think it's a problem, and he's not a top 3 quarterback right now. Last year, he was. Because dual threat. He's not a dual threat quarterback anymore. I don't fear Hurts running anymore. Like last year, when I saw that guy play, and it was 3rd and 11, do you know how many times I said, that son of a bitch is getting that? And it's going to break a defensive coordinator's heart and a team's will. He must have stuck that son of a you-know-what. How many times did he break defenses' backs last year with that? This year, they're taking that away from him. Okay? They're completely taking that away from him. The head coach needs to take over the play calling. Oh, my God, I hope not. Shit, when Xander and I started the show a couple of years ago, we were both doing this. This guy sucks as a play caller. They're 2-5. We thought the guy was in over his head. Then they took the play calling away from him. Get this. The Eagles taking the play calling away from him saved his coaching career. Think about that. He was doing such a shitty job as a play caller. Shane Steichen saved his job. Saved his job. Don't understand why they needed to change. Sue, you don't know why they changed? There's 50 million reasons why they changed. They have to validate that. You see, I'll tell you the difference between Baltimore and Philly. They're comfortable with Lamar Jackson running RPOs, okay? Because they still run a ton of them up there. Because look at his passing numbers. The only thing they cared about, they wanted the turnovers turned down, and they wanted to be more efficient on completion percentage, which they are. Because that makes him an even more frightening weapon in open space. They're not taking his running away from him. Now, he's not running with the volume he did a year ago, but his numbers are more. Get this. When you watch his numbers, remember I told you a year ago, Jalen Hurts is 3,700 yards. Were by far more important than the 45 or 4,700 yards that Kirk Cousins had. Those are empty stats. Everything Jalen did last year, he was on track for like 900 rushing yards, 3,700 passing yards. Dude, that guy was a weapon last year. This year, not so much. He's an average quarterback. No, I'll take that back. He's a good quarterback now. Last year, he was exceptional because was he the best running quarterback? No. Was he the best passing quarterback? No. Put it together. Is he one of the top guys and one of the most unique guys in the league? Absolutely. There's only 3 of them. Now, you put him in the land of being good. Okay? He's a good quarterback. When he runs the RPO, he's exceptional. Along with the passing. Dude, I think his accuracy is coming down because of coaching. Did you notice early in the year he was hanging around 69% completion percentage? Now he's down to 66. And over the last 4 weeks, it's getting worse. The Niners are a good defense. The Bills are okay. Chiefs are good. Ty Munchin, I'd also leaps and bounds a better OC than Brian Johnson, by far. Through 13 games last year, easiest schedule, we scored 338 in points. Through 13 weeks this year, hardest schedule, we scored 335. No, you're right, LJ. The kid looks the same as a year ago. You're right. You get into a game against a great team, you get killed. You think Jalen Hurts looks like a top 3 quarterback right now? I don't. Dude, I'll name you here. Who do I think's playing better than him at the quarterback position this year? Stroud. Sam Howell's having a better year. Let's see. Sam Howell's having a better passing year than Jalen Hurts. That's crazy. It's crazy to think that. Okay? Josh Allen's having a better year. Let's see who else. Brock Purdy. Shit, Dak's having a better year. Your guy's not a top 5 quarterback right now. And some go like this. Well, you know what's crazy about the Philly media? This is what you hear. The Cowboys just haven't played anybody this year. Well, you didn't play anybody last year. How come that didn't affect your analysis of Jalen Hurts? Danny DeVito. I don't think so. Hurts is win games, just like Jimmy G, baby. Jimmy G wins games too. Jimmy G. Shit, Jimmy G's got to win against Hurts. But Jalen's got the best record with no chip. What's the point of having the best record in the last 2 years if you don't have anything to show for it? Tell me that. Tell me, what's the point? Hey, man, we got a lot of wins. Okay. Yeah, okay. Right. Are we comparing Jimmy G to Jalen? No, I'm comparing winning to Jalen. Jimmy G wins like Jalen. That's what yes, I am comparing his winning. Yes. Jalen's done nothing more than him. Yes. His winning? Yeah. Because that's all he has over him. Digging hard? I'm going to ask you guys one last time this question. Our coaching is the reason why Hurts isn't top 3. Bang. This isn't a Hurts thing. Dirty D's the guy, not digging. You really have to dig to look at the shitty coaching he's getting? Wait a minute. Let me take that back. The shitty direction he's getting? Shit, Brian Johnson might be look at the freedom that Shane Steichen has to run the offense he wants. Shit, I didn't realize Jonathan Taylor's been out. So what, that kid Moss? He's turned that guy Moss into an elite running back? What's that kid Moss's name? He's on pace for like 1,000 yards this year. Jonathan Gannon has a guy. What's that kid's name, Moss? That guy's taking over for Jonathan Taylor like they haven't skipped a beat. We've scored so many points, and you just got boat raced. Dallas game's going to be Zach Moss. Thank you. Boat raced. Woo! Shit, man. You imagine Josh Allen on that Eagle offense? Man. You imagine the guy who knows what he's doing? Oh, wait a minute. No, I couldn't imagine because Josh Allen would still have the same coaches. He'd be shit too. Not that Jalen's shit. I shouldn't say that. It's not. It's the direction. Dude, if you guys think I'm banging on Hurts here, you're wrong. I'm banging on your coaching staff. I think it's amateur hour. I think it's the whole collection. I had a great conversation last night with Seth. And we're in agreement. Now we know what happened with Doug. I had a spectacular. I can't wait till he comes on at 5:30. Wait till you hear the shit he's going to say. Now we know. We found out yesterday how you run your team. You got bookworms doing it for you. and the coaches put a game plan together on the bookworms and all their intel. It's not a coach sitting in front of a video screen cutting plays up anymore. You got bookworms doing it. I think you should run this play here. It'd be, here's the numbers on this series, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4 on the 35. We found out, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know how they did it. It was always a theory. Now I know. There was a dude in the room who won the Super Bowl and said that's how they did it. And you know why you guys won the Super Bowl in 17? Because you had Jim Schwartz, Doug Peterson, and Frank Reich. All 3 head coaches at one time or another. And pretty good coordinators. And what do they all have in common? Where 2 of the 3 do. They played. Now what you got, because Howie's such a control freak, ooh, can't have a guy that's got experience. You know, that's the problem in Chicago. You know, the only coach that I can think of that they hired that had previous head coaching experience in Chicago in the last 40 years, wasn't it John Fox? The rest of them are all these Matt Eberfluses and Matt Nagy, guys like that. Haven't they, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, and the guy who was successful, Lovey, they fired him when he went 10-6. Chicago does that same shit. See the difference with Stan Kroenke and the Rams? What did Sean McVay do? And what did Les Snead and Kevin Demoff do? The executives with the Rams, what did they do? Well, we're going to bring in Wade Phillips, former head coach and a hell of a defensive coordinator, so Sean can concentrate on the offense. That's exactly what. Now you've got a former NFL head coach with the Rams as DC. His name is Raheem Morris. Those are organizations that understand it and got GMs that have, get this, they're not as tight, strong as Howie is. You got a control freak that gets you to the edge, and you can't close the deal. Man, that 2017 Super Bowl surely looks like a fluke to me almost. We need Frank Reich back. Not now, not tomorrow. I asked Frankie. I heard BJ is in the front runner for a head coaching job next year. I can't believe it. No, he's perfect. Are you kidding me? Brian Johnson's a perfect candidate for a head coaching job in today's NFL. He listens to the analytic guys. Why do you think those Eagle guys protect their coaches the way they do? They protect their coaches because they listen to the analytics and the scouting department. They're not really game planners. Brian Johnson calls plays like he is more concerned about the box. That's right. Well, Bill Ray, here's what I told you. Don't you remember when Jimmy was on? What did Jimmy Johnson tell you when he was on? Some coordinators want to put up big numbers and a lot of scoring. Some coordinators want to win games and come up with ways to put a game plan together. You don't see that with Hurts. They want Hurts to throw the ball. What did he throw the ball in the last game? 46 times? Jalen Hurts threw the ball 46 times. You're going to look every game he throws the ball 46 times, the Eagles will lose it. It's not what he does. It's not who he is. You're not over. Jalen already averaged the Super Bowl, avenged the Super. No, he didn't avenge the Super Bowl loss. What are you, a dumbass? This guy thinks a regular season win against the Chiefs avenges a Super Bowl loss. Are you high, Arthur? This guy right here celebrates those participation medals you get when you walk into a McDonald's and you go through a drive-in and you get that prize put in your Happy Meal. Get that nice little prize you get in at Cracker Jacks, right, Arthur? Hey, man, here's my 12th place prize. I was so proud of my daughter. I absolutely wiped a tear off when she dropped that thing into a garbage can. Dad, look at this thing. It's a participation medal. My daughter put it in the trash can. I looked at her and started crying. I said, baby, that's how you do it. Hoss, I don't mind if you're on the podium. But like Arthur showing up for the event. Hey, I'm here. And get your face kicked in. Hey, Arthur, no wonder you were the last person picked in Dodgeball. And you were the first person smashed in Dodgeball. Where's Arthur? He's the first guy I'm smashing in the face. By the way, most of you out here, I would hit in the chest. Arthur, I would throw the dodgeball in his face. Big old head doctor so he can go to his home economics class. What happened? Sileo hit me in the face again. Big old meanie bully. No, I just bully weak people. Arthur with a big old red thing on his head. Sileo hit me in the head again? Again? This is 3 weeks in a row. He's power-driven a dodgeball into your face. Damn, Arthur, duck. Arthur can't duck because he's a participation guy. Arthur. Oh, Arthur, you're good. You're a good sport, dude. Way to go, man. Hey, sorry about the rant, Arthur. The Krauses have me on an airplane, so I'm a little, aggravated. After the beating Bills, Jaylen is clutch. 6-6 Bills. After losing to the Niners, Jaylen should be bench. I didn't say bench his ass. I'm not benching that dude. I'm paying him $50 million. Get your ass out there. I'm not benching anybody. Benching? Now, if he's legitimately hurt, you might want to look at that. But if he's not legitimately hurt, I'm not sitting that kid's ass. For who? Marcus Mariota? Who's been a colossal disaster. Hey, Marcus Mariota's a good dude. Okay, you got it, Arthur. Thank you. Good sport, dude. Arthur's a good sport. That's why I do that to him. Some of you in here a little bit. See, unlike me, right, Xander? I'm not sensitive. I'm more of a, water off the back kind of guy. I never get sensitive when somebody says anything. I'm not the sensitive type. My wife would go, I don't know. We will beat Dallas and come next week, all will be forgotten. So you're going to forget it, ass kicking? I don't know, man. When my grandpa beat my ass sometimes, man, that thing stuck around for a couple weeks. And obviously, you've not been in too many fights, kid. LJ, so when you get your face kicked in by a guy, like in home recess or whatever, like when you went out for like lunch recess, and some guy was in the sand lot and he beat the shit out of you, you just blew it off and go into your next class, right? You walk into English. Hey, I just got my ass kicked, but hey, okay, I can put a proposition together. Hey, you remember 30? No, LJ. I'm going to hook you up on something. Big Sills has the heavyweight championship belt, and I'm undefeated. I've never surrendered the belt. I'm like Marciano. That never went down like that. Marciano's 49-0. I'm 149-0. With a dude off a roof. All right, hey. Is Jalen Hurts playing like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? Is he? Look at Sue. Oh, here we go. Let's go, Sue. I'm retired now. I'm in retirement like Tyson. I don't get in the ring for nothing anymore. I'm out. Big Seals, you remember getting pushed around by Penn State's run game? No, I don't. I remember giving up 6 first downs in a 60-minute game and losing. Getting pushed around? Jerome and I don't believe that didn't happen. Apollo was dancing till Drago, he dies. He dies. If he dies, he dies. If he dies, he dies. Okay? No, but he's having clutch moments. He is. That's a fact. Okay? Sales 49ers interested in Zach Ertz. Why would you think that they would be interested in Zach Ertz? Keep him away from Philly and Dallas and Baltimore. Baltimore's coming up on the Niners schedule, is it not? Right? Think about that. Kyle, are the Ravens on the 49ers schedule? Right? Zach Ertz has got some suitors. Look, he ain't Zach Ertz a couple of years ago. But Zach Ertz behind Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz as your 1 and 2 tight ends, that's pretty good, man. I think Zach could give you quality 20 plays, 25 plays a game. By the way, on Shaq Leonard, I think Shaq Leonard's an upgrade to what you have. Now, the bar's not very high. Okay? Hurts looks strained with the offense. Michael, it's just not. He does. He looks frustrated to me at times out there. You know what, too? To LJ's point and some of you other guys' point here, when you look at the numbers, aren't those numbers deceiving on what you're seeing this year compared to a year ago? Now, you're right. You're playing better teams. The defenses are playing against better. Hey, I wonder how last year's defense would have performed against this schedule this year. You think they'd have still been number 2 with all those shitty teams you played a year ago? I don't know. You played bums last year. You built all those. Hey, maybe 2022 was built on empty calories too. David Mills, Ryan Tannehills. Okay. Maybe it was fool's gold. Kenny Pickett. I don't think that defense of a year ago gets 70 sacks. I do not. I do not. Now, Zach Ertz, I'm not bringing him in to block. I got Goddard for that. Okay? And Jim goes like this, and we have the same record. To this point, you're losing a couple more games here. You get the worst defense in the last month in the league. You have the worst defense. Reuben Frank's column, don't read it. If I were an Eagle fan, I wouldn't read it. I would use it under my kitty litter's box or my dog's box, and I would use that so he could take a leak on it, because some of you shouldn't read that Reuben Frank column in the Inquirer about how horrific your defense is. You should not be reading it. Okay? If I were you, I would not be reading that thing. Okay? Let me ask you this. Let's move on to this one. I wrote these names down. I'll ask you here. Last year, in the job that Howie Roseman has done, how many people believe I did? And I told you in February that you might not make the playoffs. Remember, you guys came back and told me, and when he started signing all these guys, I told you the Kobe Dean experiment would blow up in your faces, and it did. Through week 13 last year, points not 193. This year, 282. Defense is the issue, but strength of opponents plays a factor. LJ, I said your team. The offense, the problem is the coordinator and the mentality. Your defense is horrific. Okay? Remember, and I was like, it doesn't look like. Then you got Jalen Carter in the draft. I told you guys not to draft Nolan Smith. I like the kid. Want to give him a shot next year. But he's a non-factor. I mean, Jordan Davis was good until he got hurt last year, remember? He was okay. He just didn't play a lot of plays. I was down on him, as were the Eagles. Okay? Well, let's do something here. Let's play a little experiment here. What injury does Dean have? Heart injury. Now, it's something probably in his shoulder like it was in college. Okay? It's simple, run the ball. No, it's simple, run the RPO. You don't have a physical back. Let's look at this. Yeah, that's a good point. Let me take a look at DeAndre Swift. And I want to put this out there for you on Jalen Hurts also. Okay? Let's take a look at this, and I'm going to show you what your running game is and the problems with your running game right now. I'm going to point this out to Barrett Brooks and Seth Joyner later in the show. DeAndre Swift.
According to Wikipedia,
DeAndre Swift stats. I want to show you guys something. DeAndre Swift stats. Okay. DeAndre Swift is on pace right now. He's on pace if I'm right, he's on pace for 900 yards. Is that right? 1,100 yards. 1,109. And 6 touchdowns. Last year, Miles Sanders had 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, how many yards did Jalen Hurts have last year? Jalen Hurts stats. Rushing. Jalen Hurts a year ago had 760, missing 2 games with 13 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts this year has 430. Jalen Hurts stats. Hurts is on pace this year for 600 yards. For 600 yards. That's $2,000. $2,000 a year ago. Okay, it's actually 2,100 yards and 24 touchdowns a year ago. This year, you've on pace for around 1,700. And I think that number is going to continue to come down because Swift hasn't really run the ball, and nor have you run the ball in the last month decent. The point is, You had 2,200 yards of rushing and 24 touchdowns. Let's do this. You think that's been replaced? Here's something else to think about. Howie Roseman. Did Howie replace the linebackers of Kaiser White and TJ Edwards this year? Let's do a little grading now, since we're talking about heading into week 14. Let me ask you this. What would you give Howie's replacements at the linebacker position? What would the grade be? What would you give him as a grade? What would be the grade of Howie's handling of the linebacker? D-? I say it's an F. Okay. How do you think Howie Roseman defended or replaced Gardner Johnson and his production at the slot corner position? What would you give him? What grade would you give him? Remember, you don't have any turnovers this year. That guy who led the NFL in INTs. And before you give me, well, he's hurt in Detroit, I didn't ask you that. I asked you if he replaced the production. F? How do you think he's done at replacing Isaac Seumalo? What grade would you give him with Cam Jurgens, Petta, and Steen? What would the replacement? What would you say? The right guard. By the way, the Steelers are in the playoff hunt. Seumalo's played well. A C? Okay, C. I'm all right with that. Okay? I'm all right with that. I am. Okay? I'm okay with that. Let me send this. Okay. Have you replaced Epps? What would the grade be with Epps? Now, Maddox's injury is Maddox's injury, is that a bigger loss than we think now? Is that Maddox injury bigger? Okay. Okay. Have you replaced? What would you give the grade on replacing Epps? You think you've replaced Epps? You guys miss Maddox a lot. That guy's like always hurt too, man. See? Okay. There's nothing in that secondary that's worth a shit. Have you guys replaced Sanders? You think you've replaced Sanders? Now, I'm going to say this about Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had 1 year in Philly that was exceptional. And if I had to have the two backs, I would take Swift. Okay? I would take Swift because you know why? He's kind of a cheap man's version of Christian McCaffrey. Run the ball, catch the ball. You can put him in the slot. You can line him up out wide. He doesn't run to contact. He's better in space. He's just not a very good red zone back. Not that Sanders was exceptional. Okay? And to me, Miles Sanders had a really good year against shitty defenses and shitty teams. And in my opinion, he stole that contract in Carolina. I think DeAndre Swift's a better player too. So there. And here's one more. You think you replaced Javon Hargrave. Now remember something. Hargrave annihilated Jason Kelce. And he's probably going to have another 11-sack season. And that's Jalen Carter. Do you think Jalen Carter has played better than Javon Hargrave? His numbers don't speak to that. Especially when I watched him kill your team. He was a dominant force, man. You guys had 46 yards rushing. They had 148 on you. Where were those guys? When it came to push or shove, and that's kind of what it was, Hargrave was an integral part of stopping your run game. Jalen Carter got ran over. Did he not? Jordan Davis got ran over. Did they not? Howie Roseman did a shit job this offseason. Like I said he would. Now, to be fair on Jalen Carter, the reason that Jalen Carter is an upgrade is because of money. He's on a rookie contract, and you don't have to pay a DT $20 million like the Niners did. Okay? Hargrave's having a better season, but there's more upside with Jalen, and he may be having a better season, but it's by a razor edge. Okay? Dude, he's got more sacks and tackles than your guy, and their defense is second in the league in stopping the run. You guys are getting murdered. What are you talking about? Yeah, Ricardo goes, Hargrave is a veteran. No shit. I asked you if it was a upgrade. I asked you if it was an upgrade. So this is what Howie does. Howie upgrades with rookies and people who get cut. And your defense is where it's at right now for a reason. Arthur goes that Hargrave was off a bye. Jalen Carter's 19 years old, 20 years old. He's tired already? Shit, man. Get on the treadmill, kid. Guy's 31 years old. That guy was a force. That Armstead was a force. The two tackles in San Francisco outplayed your two tackles. Hey, you want to see Cowboy delusional / Eagle fan? Do you really think that Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter outplayed Armstead and Hargrave on Sunday? You don't believe that, do you? Okay? You don't believe that. Look at Hargrave's rookie. I didn't ask you that. I'm not comparing careers. I'm asking you if you had an upgrade. Listen to me. That's not what I said. That's a different conversation. No, you're missing my point here. Who's a better GM, John Lynch or Howie Roseman? Howie's got a ring. Howie's got a ring. John Lynch has a championship ring as a player, but John Lynch has to do it as an executive. You know, John's done a great job at building that team, but you're always going to fall back on the Trey Lance move. And here's what you got. You got to remember something about how – do you understand how the 49ers are on a cliff of disaster? What happens if McCaffrey goes down and all that bounty of picks you sent to Carolina and you don't really have a bunch of people to be able to replace the production of Christian McCaffrey. That's a cliff dive. If McCaffrey's not in that huddle, Niners are a completely different ball team. Okay? They still have great players, but that's a completely different looking ball team. Okay? Completely different looking. You can't lose him. Purdy's not a running quarter. Well, neither is Jaylen really any longer. Okay? So I would ask you this. Give Howie Roseman a grade on how he retooled your team. It wasn't rebuilding. It was retooling. You're 10-2. But give me the grade on how you think he retooled the team. What would you give him as a grade? Not an F. You're 10-2. B plus? Ricardo, how could you be a B plus when you got the worst defense in the last month, according to Reuben Franks in the NFL? How could you be you're the worst defense in the league? You're worse against the run. You're giving up 5.8 a carry. How many times did San Francisco run up the gut? They set the edge. They ran over Trent Williams. Sure. They ran the ball for 148 yards on you. I saw McCaffrey going up the gut. Eagles bring Greg Ward back to practice squad, release wide receiver Can Sims. They cut Christian Ellis. He was starting against the Niners, and they cut him. You started a guy that they cut 3 days later. All of you guys gave me a ton of shit. I know Xander and Tone and all you guys kept pounding me about your boy Nakobe Dean. This has come back to haunt you. It's the worst linebacking core in the league. You gave a guy who was not prepared and ready the distinction of being the play caller on defense. There's a massive – you can't cover tight ends. Tight ends have a field day against your defense. And you think Howie Roseman did a B-plus in retooling your team? This season, you're right. It's not over. You're going into Dallas with that bullshit? I don't know. I'm going to have to do more deep-sea diving on this. I really don't know. And for the record, your offense really, according to LJ, he's right. Your offense really hasn't tailed off that much, except in, red zone running against good teams. Really not that awful off from a year ago. Your defense is a completely different looking unit. And it's not the coordinators. It's the philosophy. Wait till Seth Joyner comes on at 5:30. It's completely the philosophy of how they do things. See, I told you this. The system is set up and the defense is set up not for Sean Desai. It's set up for Howie. Why? So when Howie has to go out and he doesn't want to spend a ton of money, think about this. If you bring a coordinator in every year, a new coordinator, what's the one thing they like to do? They like to bring their system in. You know why Fangio probably didn't get the job, besides that whole Gannon thing, was that he realized he wasn't going to be able to implement some of the shit he wanted to. And now he's down in Miami. He's the highest paid coordinator in the league. You know that? And he's running his room. You're not going to run your room if you're a coordinator in Philadelphia. See, the Eagles found something. And there's a part of me that's not against it. You see, if you had the same system, this is why the play calling is sporadic on both sides. These coordinators are the ones that are having a problem playing in the system. You see this. They're the ones having the problem. And the lack of talent and Howie not retooling it. When last year, Kaiser White, 120 tackles. TJ Edwards, 160. You think you've replaced that? Think about that. 120 and 160. Do you think you've replaced 280 tackles this year with two men? These two guys almost had 300 tackles between them. And they're not really a lot of guys to write home about. Fly goes like this last year, or Ray goes, last year was last year. Howie's doing the same shit this year. He tried to retool the team the same way he did a year ago. Problem was, it was fool's gold because that roster was playing against horrific. Hey, it's funny how you guys are now looking at Dallas and saying the same shit about Dallas when you were that team last. Dallas was that team a year ago. Now Dallas is going to run into a stretch. Hey, I could see Dallas beating you on Sunday and dropping two. Absolutely. I don't have faith in them. To run the table? No way. I don't think they have the intestinal fortitude to run the table. I don't think they have the moxie to run the table. That's not a championship mentality over there. I do not believe the Dallas Cowboys have a championship mentality. They haven't had it in 30 years. What would make me believe, because they're playing against the Eagles on Sunday, that they would all of a sudden just have that thing just implemented into their skill set and into their locker room? Where would they get that from? Who on that team has been a champion? Let me know. I'll wait. Right? I grew up in Philly, left in 99, live in Connecticut. There was a reason I went to the parade. KC, you live in Connecticut? I'm from Connecticut. I knew better. We'll never see another one in 50 years. I'm not going there. KC, I'm not saying you're not going to be a really good football team for the next 7 years. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Absolutely not. No. Why would you think that the Eagles won't be good over the next 7 years? The Eagles will be good over the next 7 years. You know why? They've been good over the last 20. I don't believe that. You haven't had a coach since 2000 with a losing record, including horrible bedside manner Chip Kelly. Okay? Ray, they're a good football. Absolutely. Just got there's more holes. You see, listen, you know what a great team did? It exposed your weaknesses. It magnified it. Dallas is not going to magnify. You understand this, right? Dallas is not going to magnify your weaknesses as much as the 49ers will. You're not going to run into a team. There's no team in the league like San Francisco. Let's do this. If you want to call yourself and San Francisco the two best teams in the NFL, have at it. You can debate it. But I will tell you this. They got the best roster in the NFL this year. You don't. Offense and defense, a 53-man roster, you do not. Nor do you have better play callers. That's where San Francisco has you. You're not even as deep as you were a year ago. That's where San Francisco has you. And San Francisco doesn't play the schedule you play this year. They got the Ravens left. Okay? You're not going to run into a team like San Fran the rest of the year. Dallas is not San Francisco. See, once again, Michael doesn't get the point. Gardner Johnson, I asked you if you replaced his production. Okay? Have you replaced, when you get rid of a guy, did you replace that slot corner's production of 50 tackles and 6 picks? Yes or no? No debating it. Yes or no? No. Did you replace 300 tackles between White and TJ? No. Yeah, but Kaiser White wasn't very good in team. Well, if they're not very good, what the hell do you have now? I believe that Sidney Brown has a higher ceiling. Dude, the NFL is about today, right now. That's what I'm talking about here. You're talking about 2 years from now. Gives a shit about 2 years from now. That's 100 million years from now. Crowley goes like this: we have USFL linebackers. I'm not so sure of that. Hey, I hear Cunningham, like Yale just said, I hear Cunningham's coming back. Cunningham and Shaq Leonard, if he can get up to speed, here's going to be the issue that I would do. And get this. How are the analytic guys going to get around Shaq Leonard? They must be working overtime. Because what's the one thing you would want to do for Shaq Leonard if you're Sean Desai? What would be the number one thing you want to do? What would be the number one thing? What would be the top thing you would do for Shaq Leonard to get him on the field? Blitz? Let's make it simpler. What would be the number one thing that the Eagles are facing? Dude, you guys are way over the... Here. Ask him this. What was the terminology that you used in Indianapolis? Nick's going to know that because him going against those defenses in practice and Shaq in practices, he's going to know the player, strengths, weaknesses, his availability, when he gets hurt, what he plays like it, does he play through pain? Guys are communicating with the defense. Roland is onto it. You got to make that terminology so that when you have a playbook, you see, because all defenses, 34, 43, 5 front, wide 9s, wide 7s, 46s, banjos, cover 2s, they're all the same. The only thing that's different in these buildings is terminology. You could have the same defensive system in Baltimore. You get to Philly, it's like you're speaking Portuguese when you were speaking French. And it's completely different because you don't know when you're being told to slide to a strong side. What's the strong side? Do you even know that? Some teams have the strong side inside out, and they go on the hash, and some teams go by the numbers. You've got to dummy this thing down to make it so he can be and play as many plays as possible. You can't just hand him a playbook and go, hey, do you know what a 43 slant is with a twist, with cover 2 over the top and spy 7? Do you know what that is? No. Dude, when you're in a huddle and those plays come just like this, spy 7, 43, 6, slide 2, green side, cover 2, red zone, block and release on 2. What did he say? And you look over at the guy next to you, go, where do I line up? You got to worry about alignment. Dude, you have Shaq Leonard doesn't need to be on the field practicing this. He needs to be in a classroom studying this. His work really is going to come down, man, he's going to have to put a ton of, and if I were him and I would be with Cunningham and I would be with Desai and the analytic guys, since they're involved in it. You've got to come up with a way so he could play 35, 45 plays. Playing in the system the Eagles have and not giving him terminology and understanding will limit his plays. Sit starters once clinched playoffs if no first place. Let's get past Dallas first, and then we'll talk about that. I think exceeded in the free side. Sills is the insight I'm looking for. 11. This is just stuff. See, we all agree, right? We want Shaq Leonard to play. Well, going like this, and I'm making this up because I don't know this to be a fact in the defensive scheme of the Eagles. You go like this, 43, Canes G right, boat twist left, weak side stunt, Wolf, Banjo, cover 2, on 1. You think he knows that? I would go to him and go like this. What did you call this? We called it a slant slide, weak side linebacker twist on the right. And we just called it cover 2 or Banjo. Great. Great. That's what it is. And then you start playing word association games with them. That's kind of what we're doing here. You need to go over every play call that you're going to have in the game plan so that he understands the terminology. And most importantly, his alignment. The one thing that will, when you get new guys into the buildings, you know what the problem becomes? Alignment, terminology. It's not ability. You're in the NFL. This comes down to communicating, recognition, alignment. All of that plays into before the play's even snapped. You see what Relative says? That's the number one thing you should never do as a defensive football player, is what he just said. See what he said? Xander, put that up for me. Said follow the ball. Follow the ball? No. I tell kids this all the time, and I tell defensive coordinators this all the time. Here's the biggest problem that you have when you have a guy say something like that, follow the ball. The ball will take you away. See, hey, Shaq, just follow the ball. Relative. The ball will take you away from the play and where it's designed to go. Your techniques and your keys will take you to the play. I mean, don't follow the ball. That's why there's techniques. That's why you follow your skill set, your technique in front of you. That's why you follow all those things that are so important. Your technique is going to take you to the ball. You follow the ball, it'll take you away from the play. Key your techniques. The game on defense is so technical today. It's not line up and follow that shit anymore. Yeah, make a play. Defenses, why do you think scoring's down this year? Because the defenses are really, really with skilled players at the perimeter, the safeties, and the pass rushers. That's why scoring's down. Follow the ball. This isn't baseball. No, you follow your technique. Big Sills, have a coffee on me, sir. Thanks for dissing. Regardless how hard, best fan base. Totally. All right. Let's do this, guys. Hey, I want to remind you guys, this Saturday, King of Prussia, Big Sills will be out there 3:30 to 5:30. We're going to do like a special hour show, and you're all invited. Come on out. Have yourself a great one. I think Army-Navy. Is Army-Navy this weekend? I think Army-Navy's this weekend, right? So come on out there. We inviting you out there to come out there. Hooters is going to have a really outstanding time. You're going to have all kinds of weekend specials too. Seafood Sundays, half price. Snow crabs, buffalo shrimps, military Mondays, 20% off. Hey, man, don't forget, we're going to be out there. If you don't want to go into any one of the places, go to hooterstogo.com. Also, you can get yourself for the holidays Santa bucks. These bucks, you put them in the stockings. Absolutely great. NortheastHooters.com. That's NortheastHooters.com. We so appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you guys out there on Saturday at the King of Prussia Hooters from 3:30 to 5:30. Okay? Don't forget, Barrett Brooks is going to join us at 4:30 and also Seth Joyner at 5:30. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Hey! Dodgeball and Hooters, the perfect pair.